got a card today showing off one of the new Gemini dies called Pictor. So I'll show you some of the different ways you can use that. And we'll just give you a quick peek at all of the dies we're using in the card today. First up is the Triple Gemini, like I said, Pictor. And you can see there are different ways that you can put this die together. So there's a lot of versatility to it. I'm going to use the Zurich, and we'll change the shape on this one a little bit and show you how you can do that. I'll be using the center portion of the Swiss background. And I'm going to be using the tag from the Swiss Collection corner border and tag set. And this is our sentiment set, which is called Delightful Sentiments. It's a clear stamp set. Okay, so I've already done a tiny bit of cutting. I've used the portion of the Pictor die and cut just this section here, left it in the card, so I haven't used either of the cutting edges. I'm going to do it again on this side, and let's just make sure that hasn't moved. Give it a quick tape down, pop that through. There we go. Push that back. I'll set that one there for a moment. And let's just peel that off. Get a hold of that tape and pop that back onto our die. So you can see I've got a really pretty little, just a nice little edge for our card. I've gone with some sky blue card, so I'm going to go ahead and do some matting and layering with that. So I'll go ahead and put that into place using a little bit of spray glue. Just give it a quick spray under the table here. So you'll be able to see the pretty blue coming through the cutout area on that one. There we go. Okay, so what I want to do is use the other portion of the Gemini die to raise it up. Now, a little tip. Because the cutting edges are separate on this, if you cut them first using the decorative piece to the die, and then try to cut the backing for it, you might have them just set up a little differently. So I find it's easier if you cut both your top and your backing piece together, so they're going to be the same. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. And I've got a piece of blue card, which I'll use as the backing, and the white. I'm going to pop them through, and because it's a very simple cut, it will cut both at once. Now, because the dies are separate, it's not one fluid piece, you'll have to nip the little edges. Very easy to do. Let me show you. So see how there's just a tiny little piece that stays where the cutting edges come together, so nip those. So there's my backing piece, and this will be my top piece. And because it's now been cut the same exact size, there we go, take my tape off. All I need to do, let me get that off there. Take my tape off. Get that stay. Okay, so now I can just nip this piece in here. In fact, we'll just put it onto our cutting plate and tape it down. Line it up in the center. Tape that. So now we should have a piece that matches perfectly because both the outside edges were cut at exactly the same time. I'm just going to tidy up this little spot where I pulled it. There we go. So now you can see how these two will go together just perfectly. They were both cut at the same time. So I've gone ahead and done two of these, and I've mounted them up a little bit. Let me tidy up a tiny bit so I can have a little room here. Pop these guys over. And we'll go ahead and put them onto our card. It's nice, you can turn these either direction. I'm going to use the same shape from the die and just pop it right into place and give a little bit of an edge there. And I'll do this one. And just to give you a quick measurement on this size, the outside layer here is 6.5 by just 4 7/8 roughly. So I've got the nice background base piece created for that. Okay, so the next thing moving forward for our focal element is I've cut the Zurich in the sky blue. I've backed it with the white, but it's a little bit too big for what I want. So I'm going to bring in my paper cutter and we're just going to nip it down a little bit in size. And I'm going to cut it right along this little area right here on both edges. Line that up. Cut that side and line it up here. There we go. So I've just taken out a little under an inch to make it a little bit smaller. We'll pop it together, and I like to just use a piece of single-sided tape. Get that nice and straight. Ooh, got a little bit of a glue dot on there. There we go. Another down here. Some mounting foam across it. Now if you use a little bit across the seam, it'll give it a little more security. Won't be quite so wobbly. There we go. So I'm going to go and bring that back in to the center of the card. And keeping that straight across the middle, I'm going to seat that right in the center of my card. Now, I thought it needed a little bit top and bottom, so I've done some of the pearls. Now, these come off of a string of double pearls, so I've cut them down the center just to use one on either side. It's a little bit more thrifty that way, I think. I'm going to peel that off, and we're going to run that right along here on the top and the bottom. Makes a nice little accent. I've got this probably a tiny bit too long. Let's try that. I think I can do 2 off of there. There we go. Tuck it under the end. Okay. And do this one. I love the little accent that pearls give to your cards. Pop that down. Run that right along the bottom, and there again I've got that one a little too long too. So I've got a couple extras I can use on another project. Okay, so now we can go ahead and put that onto our base. Now I've decided I wanted a nice blue border on that, so I've cut that a little bigger, and I can even give you a quick measurement on that one. 7.5 by 5 3/4 on the blue piece. A little bit of mounting foam, raise that up, and we'll have some more dimension on it. There we go. Center that right in the middle. That looks pretty good. And now we want to just cover that little cut line that we have. So I've cut the center out of the Swiss background, and that'll cover that really nicely. And what I wanted to do was add a little bit of detail, so I've gone ahead and cut one of the tags, and then we are just going to nip at that. I'm just going to take a little bit off of both sides. I'm going to peek that out just from underneath there, about like that. About like that. I think that works well, and we still have enough sticky here. We can pop that right in the center. That will cover over our line, so you won't even be able to tell that it's been cut there. And my sentiment. Let's bring that in. I'm going to use the center of that Swiss background. Just got a really nice little oval. Pop that into place, and a little bit of tape here right over the edge of that. Give this a quick cut. And I want to add a little bit of color to the edge of that. So I'm just going to pop it out. And I'm going to use a Smoothie. Now this has a little bit of Decadent denim still on it. Might even be enough. Let's see, I think I need a tiny bit more. It's a very dark color, so I want to be very careful not to get too much on there. There we go. All the way around the edge. Just to frame that sentiment in. Bring the color into the center of the card. There we go. And let's do, oh, there we go. There's some foam for that. That should fit on there. Ooh, tiny bit too big. seep that right into the center of my card. There you go. Absolutely gorgeous. I've added a few pearls to accent the Gemini die on the edge, and I think that's absolutely lovely. Perfect addition for any kind of sentiment you want to put with it too. Doesn't just have to be a thank you.